Hi everyone, so this is my sixth video blog for Informatics 685 at Mercer University. And this week we're discussing how much of a contribution do requirements make to a software development project, and how will you test interfaces and usability at the requirements phase of a software development project. So the requirements of a software project play a huge role in the development process. They are used to determine the goals for the software development and all the components it needs to have in order to be successful. During this phase, the stakeholders come together to ensure that everyone involved knows the plan for the development and the goals that must be achieved. Without this phase, or having a clear and concise idea on what the requirements are, the development will have no clear direction, and there will be no way to ensure the software encompasses all the needs of the consumer. During this phase, testing of the requirements can also be discussed and planned. It is important that the requirements are thought out because they can determine whether or not the software will be approved, and the user needs to clearly know what the requirements are and how they need to be carried out. So basically, requirements are set forth by the consumer, and they are basically what they need that software to encompass. And the software development phase is where everybody comes together to acknowledge and analyze those requirements that the consumer has set forth, and plan and analyze how they'll go about meeting those requirements and making sure that everyone knows what the requirements are, and making sure that they are good requirements and clear on what the consumer may want. So in order to test these requirements, you have to test the usability and the functionality of the system against the requirements set forth by the user. So the testing of these requirements involves the stakeholders and the end users, and the test must involve any and all possible scenarios that will affect the success of the software. The software should be tested against what the consumer wants and verified that it passed the test. So based on what the consumer says their requirements are for the software and for the software to be approved, you test the software to see if it's easy to use for the consumer, if it's fully functional, and if it has all the requirements that they ask for. And this testing will help identify any issues with the software, and if there are any issues that can be addressed and handled, so the software can be retested and eventually approved. Because if the software doesn't meet the requirements, it'll be harder for it to get approved, and there will be multiple steps where you have to keep going back and retesting the software. So that's why it's important that from the beginning you have a clear understanding of what the requirements are, so nothing will be missed. And when you go to present it to the consumer, you won't have to come back and keep retesting or keep adding or changing components of it, because from the beginning you'll know what they require of the software.